So in this video, I wanted to spend a few minutes talking about the Ozeri Pronto kitchen scale. Specifically, the model is called the KZ14. And this is sort of not really known for the brand or the model, but because it's such a popular scale on Amazon, I think it has something like 24,000 ratings, which is just a huge amount. So I've had this scale for a long time, as you could probably tell from the exterior, but it's held up well. And given the $13 to $14 price right now, I can say I recommend this scale with some caveats. So like I said, the scale is from a brand called Ozeri, which I don't know if it's like a real brand or if it's just someone that sells on Amazon. Now that doesn't make them a real brand, but I don't know if they have distribution in actual big box stores and places like that, but they are very popular online. And their scales are easy to find. They have body weight scales, kitchen scales, all sorts of scales. This model is, again, you could tell how old it is. It's the KZ14-S. It's been around forever. It's a very popular model today, even though it's been around. This one's probably at least 3 or 4 years old, probably more. As far as the basics go, retail price, so the MSRP is about $15. It takes 2 AAA batteries. It has a 5,000 gram, or they say 5,100 gram capacity, and it'll hold up to 179 ounces. That is 11 pounds. Or if you're weighing water, 1 gram of water or 1 milliliter of water is 1 gram. So you could technically weigh up to 5,100 milliliters as well. Not too much to look at. And I did want to point out that all of these pieces that look metallic are actually plastic. So this top piece is plastic. It's not, it's as heat resistant as a hard plastic is, but it's not particularly heat resistant. The bottom also looks kind of like aluminum-ish. It is absolutely not. It is all plastic, all plastic. The scale is quite light and it feels pretty flimsy. So it's not a heavyweight scale. It doesn't mean it won't last, but if you do drop it, it's gonna break. And if you put something hot on it, it could melt. I haven't melted it because I use it primarily for coffee, but this is not a rugged scale and it's definitely not waterproof. You can completely ruin it if you were to get water under this lip here. As far as the settings go, it's very simple. You have your on-off button, which is also the tare. So if you press it, it zeroes it out. The scale, scales are not meant to be used when you move them around, so ignore the fluctuations. But if you do press it when it's on, it will tare, so it'll zero out. If you press it again, it will turn off. Units are very simple. It will go into grams, which is a standard one, ounces, and then pounds plus ounces, so pretty simple. Milliliters is essentially the same as grams, but if you're more comfortable working that, you could do that as well. See, there's no change. You can go from grams to milliliters. There's some other indicators over here, particularly your battery level, but this battery is pretty full, so you don't see it. As far as accuracy goes, well, actually, let's talk about precision first. It is single gram precision. So you're not gonna get your tenths of a gram, which is useful if you are measuring coffee. If you're like kind of a coffee geek, you might want tenths of a gram, especially if you're making espresso. But this will only do a single gram. A little bit hard with the glare, and that's one of the downsides of this. It's sort of covered in plastic and has a lot of glare, but you can see this thing doesn't even, there you go, 1 gram exactly. So it's not 1.5 or 1.6, it's exactly 1. Or it says it's exactly 1. It could be anything between 1 and 2. The plastic does raise over time, and I didn't burn this or anything like that. It just sort of is peeling off, which is not a big deal. It doesn't affect the performance, but it just is quite unsightly. This is not a good looking scale. It's not something you want to keep on your counter. The rest of the parts have held up well. This chromed plastic tends to flake, but this one has not done that. It collects some garbage, but that's more about my personal level of cleanliness than it is about the scale itself. It's pretty easy to clean. And then again, this is just kind of unsightly and annoying. I will say one downside of the scale is I tend to turn it off a lot right there. That should have tared the scale, but because it was on 0, or for that second it thought it was on 0, it turned the scale off. So I do tend to turn the scale off a lot when I mean to tear it, but that's just a minor incident. Okay, so precision is single gram, not tenth or hundredth of a gram or 5 grams. Like some scales, it's a single gram. A nickel weighs 5 grams. So while the scale can only be as precise as a single gram, it is accurate right now, saying that 5 gram nickel, which I know to weigh 5 grams because that's how much a nickel weighs, and I've measured this nickel with my other scales, and I know it to weigh, 5 grams. It says 5 grams here. So just as a quick accuracy test, it works. And my accuracy here is like good enough accuracy, because for baking, making coffee and stuff like that, single gram accuracy is fine. If you're really into espresso, then maybe you want to use, say, tenth of a gram accuracy, and that might be better. But for most applications, single gram precision is fine, and we know this is accurate to that single gram metric. No problem with heavier things, so that's fine. You can see the scale is a bit slow. If you really want a fast scale, you can buy a $200 Akaya scale or something like that, and it'll do that kind of bounce and fluctuation much more quickly. But this one is fine from a speed standpoint. It's not just a speed demon. It just simply isn't. You can see each time I've weighed the scale, weighed this tape measure, it does go to 393 grams. So repeatability seems to be very good. I've never had a problem. I weigh the same coffee pot every morning. It always weighs the same 712 grams. So I feel like I have no problems with repeatability with this scale. So I think that about covers it. This is a nice scale. It works really well for what it is. It is not as precise as some people like. That's fine, but it is reasonably accurate and reasonably reliable. And it's lasted me, I want to say 3+ years. So I can definitely recommend it, especially given the price tag of about $13 right now. I just checked before this video was shot. So ZK14-S from Ozeri. Thanks.